Okay, so I guess everybody's here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wetland Mitra webinar by the student body of the first ever Model Conference of Parties. A very, very warm good evening to each and every one of you here. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome all the teachers and the students who have joined us today from across the entire country, imbibed by the love and interest for wetlands. We have so many people joining us today. Of course, we're here to learn about wetlands, but we have a lot of fun packed in today's session as well. And we have some eminent intellectual speakers amongst us, and I cannot wait to dive in with you all. So is everybody ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Come on, quickly give me a thumbs up. Okay, so I see a few thumbs up. Now, before diving in, I sincerely request you all to please keep your cameras and mics off during the entire session. If you have any questions, we have a designated time for you to raise them through the chat box. So please keep your audio and video off on all times. And with that, let's begin. So allow me to explain the agenda of today's session. First, we'll be looking into what is MCoP, the first online model conference of parties and the journey of MCoP since May 2020. Then we'll be having the amazing Ms. Radhika Suri, Director Education, WWF-India, amongst us all for an MCoP Tell All. Then we have an expert talk on wetlands by the expert himself, Dr. Amit Dubey. Next, Mr. Suresh Babu, Director, Rivers and Wetlands, will be finally telling us the role of Wetland Mitras, that is, us and our role. Stick around till the end because we have a very fun and interactive quiz, which I'm sure will get your adrenaline rushing, hosted by Neha ma'am and Parameshwari Ramesh, Under Secretary of the Student Body. And then it's an open house. We'll be answering all your questions and queries before concluding the session. Now, most of you might be wondering, why are we here? Who is this guy speaking? Who is everybody here? What is the student body? What is MCoP? What is the Model Conference of Parties? And to answer all these questions, may I welcome Saksham Pandey, the Associate Secretary of the Student Body, to basically give you a brief idea about who and what we are. Take away, Saksham.
A very good evening to one and all. I am Saksham Pandey, the Associate Secretary of MCoP-I Student Body. Since 1969, education has been the core aspect of WWF-India's conservation efforts. Recognizing the role of children and youth as major stakeholders, WWF-India has been creating programs to build a generation of environmentally conscious individuals. The Model Conference of Parties is an initiative that perfectly embodies WWF-India's environment education approach. The idea of MCoP was conceived with the thought of creating a platform for students that builds their understanding on how nations collaborate to address global environmental issues. Can we have the next slide, please? Environmental issues today require our undivided attention. Model Conference of Parties envisions to build an understanding of the role of conventions such as CBD that play in driving governments and businesses to take action towards healthy ecosystems, prevention of biodiversity loss, sustainable living, and equitable sharing of nature's benefits to all. So is the goal of MCoP to value, restore, and conserve our planet Earth. Let's move on to see the journey that the delegates have been through so far.
Uttarakhand. Level beware. I am representing the state of Nagaland.
I'm representing Karnataka.
I'm Aditya and I'm representing the state of Haryana.
UT Ladakh,
Andhra Pradesh. Gujarat.
Jharkhand,
Telangana.
Tamil Nadu.
Sikkim,
Punjab,
Odisha,
Arunachal Pradesh.
Assam,
Bihar.
Chhattisgarh,
Goa,
Himachal Pradesh. The land of God.
Madhya Pradesh,
Maharashtra.
Manipur,
Meghalaya,
Mizoram.
Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman Diu.
The land of kings, Rajasthan.
Uttar Pradesh,
West Bengal and Tripura.
New Delhi,
Chandigarh,
Jammu and Kashmir.
Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
Paris of the East, Puducherry.
Hello. The most unique biodiversity of my state Uttarakhand is the marvelous and solitary white-bellied musker which resides in the high alpine regions of the Himalayas.
Makhan plant, or also known as the prickly water lily.
Is blackbuck, which also happens to be the state animal of Andhra Pradesh.
Rainbow stylish.
The pygmy hog.
Wild buffalo,
Flame throated bulbul, also known as ruby gola.
Asiatic lion,
Black pangolin.
Kalash, and it is also known as the flame of the forest.
Kolar leaf-nosed bat.
The majestic snow leopard in the fauna section.
The Indian paradise flycatcher.
Kondana soft-furred rat, also known as the Sinhagad rat.
Animal sunlight.
Clouded leopard.
Bamboo, which is also known as the giant grass. Locally, we call it as mouse.
The black tragopod.
Olive ridley turtle and Irrawaddy dolphins.
Is the Indus River dolphin.
Honey badger.
The dark-eyed beauty, the koa, also known as the Tibetan gazelle.
The Nilgiri thar. Lapeta or the Indian roller.
The Barasinger.
Medicinal plants, that is Shrolo.
Shefali flower. In our native language, it is known as Shivli fool, and in English, you can call it night flowering jasper.
This is the Royal Bengal tiger.
the Bostami turtles,
This is the Indian python.
Sambar deer.
The Nilgai.
Saffron, that is Kesar of the Pondicherry shark.
Narcondam hornbill.
Indeed marvelous, right? From the first call from the school to participate in MCoP to this day, each and every day of this journey has been enriching. Knowledge equivalent to thousands of books and experience of a lifetime has marked the success of this journey that we as the WWF team and as the MCoP team have traveled so far. The journey might have been long, but yes, it has just begun. We as MCoP student delegates pledged to abide by our commitments to the nature, which can be read in the next slide on the screen. When we drafted the Delhi Declaration, we wanted to raise concerns about the grave issues that our planet Earth faces. One such are the wetlands. Wetlands were incorporated as one of our key targets in accomplishment of the goals of sustainable living, and here we are, celebrating the World Wetlands Day. With that, I would like to conclude and call upon Ma'am Radhika Suri, Director, Environment Education, WWF-India.
Hello, everyone, and good evening. Thank you for coming here, and thank you, Saksham. So we, as Saksham has shared with you, MCoP was created with the vision of teaching children about governance, about advocacy. When we started MCoP, I remember all the student delegates were, very convinced that this was a very simple job. It was easy to do. What were governments doing? And in those 5 days, we saw them absolutely baffled as they had to make targets that they were so hard to actually achieve. So it was a beautiful journey where students from across the country came together, and it was the pandemic, so we met virtually, but it was really heartwarming from having children from Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh, from till Tamil Nadu, and from the east and the west. So that's what the vision of MCoP was. And we came up with the Delhi Declaration. We came up with the commitments, as Saksham has just shared. But putting things on paper is one thing. We felt that while we have understood how these bodies work and what it is to create a Delhi declaration, but it is very important to actually try and roll out something. It's very important to actually try and do something. This body, I know, has sent questionnaires out and has been shocked at no responses. So this whole experience of what we're going to do now is rolling out. So creating a target is very, very simple in comparison to actually trying to achieve the target. And therefore, we felt that MCoP has to move from just target setting to actually rolling out an action. And today is a very special day. It is the World Wetlands Day, and water and wetlands are absolutely precious to us. So it is an absolutely important agenda, and therefore we picked it out of our targets, and we have created a project, and we're going to try to roll it out. There may be hiccups, we may fall, we may get busy with our exams, but we are all going to try and do something to make a change. We are all going to try and see how hard it is for the adult world to actually implement things. And so this is going to be a live classroom. It's going to be a civics and science that is going to be actually happening on ground, where you'd be rolling it into action. So with that thought, I'll end, and I wish this student body and all of you a lot of luck. And I do hope you are inspired with the coming sessions on wetlands and water, and you understand how each one of us must play a role to contribute. It is very easy to say this is not right and that's not right. It is very important, at whatever age we are, we all contribute towards this cause and save the environment. In the end, it'll be a win-win for all of us. So all the best to all of you, and let's kickstart action part of MCoP and Delhi Declaration. Thank you.
Thank you, Radhika ma'am, for enlightening us with your words. Next, I'll invite Dr. Amit Dubey, wetlands expert, WWF India, to tell us the what, why, and how of wetland conservation.
Thank you. Thanks for this, and good evening, everybody. Greetings from WWF India on the World Wetlands Day to everyone. And allow me to share my screen so that I can share my presentation.
Yes, sir, you can just share.
All right, so I hope all of you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, we can.
Thank you. So I welcome you all again on this day of World Wetlands Day, where we talk about wetlands, the conservation of wetlands, why it is important. And I'll initiate my presentation with a small overview on what wetlands are, how they are defined by the different agencies, how international agencies define them, how our government of India defines them. So there's an international convention on wetlands, popularly known as Ramsar Convention. And the Ramsar Convention defines the wetlands as areas of marsh, fen, peatland, or water, whether natural or artificial, whether it is permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, whether it is fresh, brackish, or salt, including areas of marine water with the depth of which at low tide does not exceed 6 meters. So essentially, the Ramsar Convention, what it says is that all the water bodies which do not exceed 6 meters can be defined as wetlands. When we talk about our own country, we have wetland rules which are being laid down by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and the definition given by the Ministry of Ministry of Environment and Forest differs slightly from that of the Ramsar Convention definition. It says that the wetlands are areas of marsh, fen, peatland, natural, artificial, permanent, or temporary. The only exclusion that the Government of India does is that it does not include the main river channels, does not include the paddy fields, it does not include the human-made water bodies or tanks, which are specifically constructed for drinking water purposes, and structures that are specifically constructed for aquaculture or salt production, recreation, and irrigation purposes. Why they've not included this is that because these type of water bodies are under different management regimes, and that is why there would be, there could be a dispute, and that's why these are not included. Now let us see why wetland management, why wetland conservation is so important. Why are wetlands important to us? Here are some key facts, and these key facts have been taken directly from the Ramsar Convention website. So wetlands are rich reservoirs of biodiversity, very, very rich. In fact, when we talk about wetland productivity, these are the most productive ecosystems in the world, with 40% of the world's plant and animal species living and breeding in these wetlands. Over 1 lakh freshwater species have been identified in wetlands so far. And among all the other wetland types, coastal wetlands in particular are the most productive types of the wetlands that we have on this planet. Some more facts, 30% of the known fish species are known from the wetlands. And there are additionally almost 200 freshwater species which are discovered annually. Many at-risk amphibians and reptiles live in these wetlands. These wetlands are home to most of the migratory bird species, and which play a very significant role in the ecology of the world. Thousands of plant species and a lot many endemic species also thrives in this wetlands. Let's try and understand why this biodiversity. I mean, we have understood that the wetlands are very rich in biodiversity, but what does it mean to me? Why does it matter to me? So just to make things a little clearer, the swamp vegetation or the wetland vegetation filters pollutants. They trap nutrients, they trap sediments that would otherwise flow into our rivers, and it makes the water potable. Potable means usable for human uses. Wetland provides livelihoods for approximately 1 billion people and help feed the world. A lot of plants that grow in wetlands are actually used up for feeding the population. The peatlands, they are a type of wetlands. They store up to 30% of the land-based carbon. So they have a very important role in climate mitigation. Apart from that, the lakes and rivers supply food and medicine. A lot of medicinal plants grow into the wetlands. In addition, mangroves and coral reefs protect the coastal communities, especially during the storm surges, something that we have seen when the tsunami hit. And wetlands provide an ecosystem services of an approximate $47 trillion annually. But despite all these benefits that the wetlands provide, the wetlands have been vanishing, and they have been vanishing much faster than any other ecosystem that we have on this planet. If it compare it with forest, wetlands are vanishing 3 times faster than the forest, and 35% of the wetlands have actually disappeared since 1970s. If we compare it with the last 350 years, around 87% of the wetlands have been lost. And if you look at the major causes of these wetland losses, they have actually fallen prey to the infilling for agriculture and construction. So the conversion of wetland for non-wetland users is one of the major causes of loss of this wetland. Pollution is another cause. overexploitation of resources, overexploitation of water, overfishing, etc., is also causing a loss in the wetlands. Invasive species, you must have heard species like water hyacinth, Pistia, Salvinia. These kind of species actually are causing a loss in the wetlands. And of course, the climate change and degradation in the catchment is another reason for the loss of these wetlands. And corresponding to the losses in wetlands, the biodiversity that the wetlands support is also on a steep decline. If we look at the data between 1970 and 2014, the population of the species that are supported by these wetlands have declined by 60%. 81% of the inland wetland species and 36% of the coastal and marine species have declined tremendously. And 25% of the known wetland species that we have today are threatened with extinction, which includes water birds, freshwaters, the mammals which are dependent on wetlands, turtles, and coral reef building species. So wetlands are in a big threat, as we can see. These are some of the ecosystem services that the wetlands provide. One should know why wetlands are important in my own life. And if you look at the assessment of ecosystem services, the ecosystem services could be actually broadly divided into 4 different classes, which include the provisioning, regulatory, cultural, and supporting services. I'll not actually discuss each and every one of them, but some of the major ones that I think are important to be discussed over here are the wetlands provide fresh water, and this fresh water is for drinking. This fresh water is for irrigation. This fresh water is also for the domestic usage of the human being. Sorry, there was some background noise. The second provisioning services that the wetlands provide is food. Some of you may know that the paddy that we eat is actually a wetland species. It was a wild wetland species which got domesticated and we started cultivating it. In addition to that, the water chestnut that we eat, and many other, the Ipomea aquatica plant is used as a vegetable. So quite a few species actually which grow in wetlands are used as food. In addition, we get fiber, fuel. Species like typha, species like Phragmites, they provide fuel and fiber to us. Some of the wetland plants like Icornia, Ipomea, they provide natural medicines. The oil, essential oils, which are extracted out of these plants are actually having a lot of medicinal values. And a lot of wetlands provide clay minerals as well. If you look at the regulatory services, all the wetlands provide air quality regulation. They actually entrap carbon dioxide by a process known as carbon sequestration. And this carbon is actually then converted into usable form. That's how air quality regulation is done by the wetlands. Local and global climate regulation is also done. It's one of the important wetland ecosystem services. Water regulation and flood hazard regulation. We all know what happened in major cities like Bombay, major cities like Chennai. When the flood came, there were no wetlands to absorb that flood. And if the wetlands had been there, these floods would have been actually much less intense. So as we are losing wetlands in our cities, the instances of these kind of floods are also increasing. So one of the important regulatory services that the wetlands provide is the flood hazard. When we talk about the cultural heritage, the cultural ecosystem services that are provided by these wetlands, many of the wetlands are actually cultural heritage sites. They provide a lot of spiritual, religious, and inspirational values. And if you talk about the supporting services that are provided by the wetlands help a lot of primary production. As I said, being one of the most productive ecosystems in the world, they are also the source of largest primary production. And when we talk about primary production, the way it benefits us is it provides the maximum amount of oxygen. So the oxygen balance in our atmosphere is actually maintained by the wetlands. The wetlands are also the site for maximum nutrient and water recycling, and it provides a lot of, a very good habitat for a lot many species that we have on this planet. This is how some of the ecosystem services work. So the wetlands usually are fed by the streams. There is an inlet. There are more than one inlet into a wetland that feeds water into the wetland, and there is an outlet. So if you see, these are the inlets, these are the outlets. When the water is moving with high velocity from a very high slope, it carries with it a lot of sediments, a lot of pollutants. That energy is actually broken down. It is dissipated by the wetlands, which is a relatively stagnant water body. The velocity, when it is reduced, the sediments tend to sink at the bottom. The nutrients tend to sink at the bottom, and these nutrients are taken up by these wetland vegetation and are used in edible products. The bacteria, they break down the contaminants, which are again absorbed by these plants. And the water, when it stagnates, recharges the groundwater and is slowly released into the streams and also recharges the groundwater. So the wetlands have immense ecosystem services value. Now let's try and look at what is the wetlands seen in our country. What are the number of wetlands that we have? What are their situations? So the Space Application Center, ISRO, has done an assessment of the wetlands in India in 2011. This data is from that assessment. According to that assessment, the total number of wetlands that we have is around 7,57,000. The area under the wetlands is around 1 crore hectares. And if we talk about the states with maximum percentage of area under the wetland, Lakshadweep tops the list, which has around 96% of its total area technically as wetland, followed closely by Andaman and Nicobar, which has around 18.52% of its area under wetland, and Gujarat, which has around 17.56% of its area under the wetlands. In contrast, the state with the minimum percent of area under wetlands is Mizoram, which has only 0.66% of wetland area. So if we talk about the wetland conservation in India and also in the Ganga Basin, which WWF-India has been supporting, the Ministry of Environment and Forest has actually provided a four-pronged approach for wetland conservation. And in the talk subsequent to this, Suresh sir is going to explain it to you as to how you can support this four-pronged approach of the ministry, how you can be a part, how Wetland Mitras could be a part of this strategy. So this strategy talks about first, inventarization of wetlands and preparation of what is known as brief documents. Second is the second approach to this is the preparation of the wetland health cards, followed by the enrollment of Wetland Mitras, and then preparation of integrated management plan. So this is a four-pronged approach which the ministry takes. And if we talk about the management of the wetlands, there is a guideline. The National Plan for Conservation of Aquatic Resources provides a guidelines for the preparation of management plan, which forms the basis of management of wetlands in India. It again involves 5 different steps. And these steps is something where you can actually play a very critical role. So when we talk about the 5 steps, the first step is describing the wetland and its values. It involves the assessment of the biophysical characters that the wetlands have, the physical features like the depth, the area, the number of inlets, the number of outlets, their health. All these things come under this particular step. The next step in the management of the wetlands is the identification of threats. So we tend to assess what is it that is causing the wetland to degrade, what are the root causes of wetland degradation. The third step in management planning is defining the institutional arrangements. The fourth step is identification of the management actions. And the first final stage in management planning is the budgeting and financing. So these are 5 steps. And what I want to stress over here is, as students, as as a part and parcel of the MCoP, you guys can play a very vital role, especially in the first 2 steps of the conservation actions. So with this, I would like to end my presentation. A detailed, insight on the roles and responsibilities that you can have would be given in a subsequent presentation by Suresh. Thank you for your patient hearing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amit. Just a small request to all the audience. If you have any questions for Dr. Amit, please put it in the chat box. We will take it up during the open house at the end of the session. Over to you, Archit.
Thank you, sir. That was all very interesting to know. Now I'll call upon Mr. Suresh Babu, Director, Rivers and Wetlands, WWF-India, to give us a brief about the role of Wetland Mitras, that is us and our role.
Yeah, thank you. 1 second, let me change my background. It was for the earlier meeting which just concluded. So let me. All right. Okay. So can I share my screen now?
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay, thank you. At the outset, I wanted to extend warm wishes, and I hope that this World Wetlands Day will see a lot of inspired young individuals coming forward for conservation of our wetlands. And I'm sure that you know about today's theme on what this Wetland Day is all about. It's about water, wetlands, and the interconnectedness. They are inseparable. So that's kind of the theme. And so I want to thank the environmental education team of WWF-India, and also the student body for picking this issue for discussion with a large audience. So very, very timely, and looking forward to the next steps on this. Someone else is sharing the screen.
So, sir, you can just start sharing your own screen.
All right. So we are excited at this, okay, because as I understand from Radhika, the student body, and Nekha, is that there is a huge amount of interest from youth across the country to become Wetland Mitras. It's really, really inspirational to know this, and we want to celebrate coming together for our wetlands. So I'm just going to quickly look at, in a very simple way, what you can contribute as an individual and what we can collectively do together to save our wetlands. Just a question to you. Amit used a number of statistics. I don't know if you noticed the number of wetlands in this country. Can anyone post it in the chat box as to what is the total number of wetlands in our country? Okay, that is good. The mantra writes it's about 70,000, and Sukhi and Shantala Rao has written the exact number. So absolutely, so what is that number? It is 7.5 lakh wetlands in this country. And the number of wetlands, the sheer number of wetlands across the country calls for its decentralized management. No one department, no one organization, no one institution, no one individual can manage these many wetlands. So let's be very, very clear. And that's the reason why the idea of engaging more stakeholders, enthusiasts like you, is very, very important. So anyone can be a friend of wetland, anyone who wants to contribute to wetland conservation, who loves biodiversity, who loves their own water and their own survival can become part of this journey. So Wetland Mitras is I think it's the time for collaboration with you guys is very, very essential. And we need more number of people coming forward to protect their own wetlands. So the photograph that you are seeing is from one of our areas of work where local youth are coming forward to understand their wetland in a better way. So 755,000 wetlands, and we need those many mitras at least. So that's a challenge before us. Now, who can be a wetland mitra? So obviously, you guys, as youth, as students from schools or universities, colleges, yeah, of course, you've come forward to be a mitra. But the request that I have is, once you understand the roles and responsibilities, you need to also expand the Wetland Mitra network. It can be anyone. It can be people from religious institutions, cultural, faith-based organizations, people living along the wetlands. It can be fisher folks. They can be farmers. They can be the local Anganwadi workers. It can be corporate houses, civil society. So the diversity of people whom you can engage is huge. And there lies an opportunity because wetland management requires a multidisciplinary approach. Amit talked about several aspects of wetlands, right from science to social sciences, economics, etc., etc. So we need different people with different understanding, different backgrounds to come forward. Now, what do you do once you become a Mitra? 755,000 wetlands. We don't know what's happening to these wetlands. What are these wetlands? What is the amount of water that the wetlands receive? From where it gets water, which is a catchment area? What kind of water quality exists? What kind of bird diversity exists? What kind of insects live in wetlands? What kind of services it offers? We don't know enough. So the first thing is we are looking at Wetland Mitras to engage with this program to further citizen science concept, understand the wetlands, its health, and also the threat status. We want you to be the leaders in becoming change agent. I would call all of you, those many colleagues, some 56 odd guys are on the call, and the rest of you must be seeing on the Facebook as live. You are early adopters. You have jumped into it saying that, okay, I need to do something for my water body, my wetland, because it's for my survival. But there are many people who will wait and watch for you, what these guys are doing. And so what we want you also is to act as change agents, mobilize people, mobilize and grow the Mitra network to do something concrete for wetlands. We heard about the management planning. While it sounds very complicated, what we are looking at is, okay, if the wetland is under threat, what kind of actions can turn the story around? What can be done? So for instance, a wetland may receive a drain which brings in polluted water. So who is responsible? What kind of actions are needed? Once it's identified, communicating that to the stakeholders who are polluting it and following it up for further action is something that we will look at. It requires energy, time, enthusiasm, and support. Overall, what we are looking at is you becoming the custodian and the guardian of a wetland, because wetlands don't have voices. So we want all of us together to become the guardian and voices of our wetlands. Now, it all sounds great, but you will feel that, okay, there are so many things, so many externalities, so many stakeholders with diverse interests. Can I do it? So my first point here is that there are several actions that you can do at your own level. The first thing, if I were to ask you, how many of you know the name of the wetland in your locality? Have you ever seen or ever been to a wetland, or it's a pond, it's a lake, it's a water body, it's a puddle? Have you ever seen, have you ever been, have you ever tried to understand the water body near you? Can I get quick responses in the chat? Yeah, Indranil says yes, and I'm sure there are many people who may say yes and some may say no. Have you mapped where your wastewater goes into, the water that you use in your houses? Where is it ending up? It may end up in a river, it may end up in a sewage treatment plant, it may end up in a water body. Someone has written their waste goes into Jamnagar mangrove, someone says Gorai wetlands, and several of these queries. I'm really amazed by the response, and thank you so much. And this is what we expect this conversation to be more interactive. The first point is that measure your water footprint. When I say water footprint, how much water you are using. Now, everyone can actually ask me this question: why, when we are talking about wetlands, why are you asking us to measure our water use in our houses? It's important because the amount of pollution that you generate is directly proportional to the water that you use. 80% of the water you use ends up at waste somewhere. It may go into a wetland, it may go into a river, it may go into an STP. Even if it goes into an STP, sewage treatment plant, it may end up in the river, maybe treated, partially treated, or untreated. So let us measure our water footprint so that we can take steps to optimize our water footprint. Simple steps are on your screen. I don't want to get into it, but I'm saying from WWF, we believe that this is one of the biggest things that we can do. Measure and reduce your own water footprint. Inspire others to reduce their water footprint. It makes ecological sense, it makes economic sense, and you will become a champion of your own water. So how can WWF help? Okay, it's easy to tell you that go and measure. There are tools and apps available. The water footprint calculator is available in our website. You can go through it. You can make yourself aware both on direct footprint, which is kind of the direct consumption, drinking water, using for flushing, washing, etc., etc. But there is also an indirect footprint, which you indirectly consume, like the commodities that you use. An A4 paper torn away is about 10 liters of water. So be mindful of what you are trying to consume. What we need is, once you understand your own footprint, can you help us to generate this awareness in your locality with your resident welfare association or the local village community? Can we actually have your support in generating this behavior change? Because in most of our rural areas, we are seeing that the water from the household drains into the nearby wetland. We want you to inspire action at the local level. So the first point, as Mitras, whether it is a wetland Mitra or a Nadi Mitra, for the first step is to start with measuring your own water footprint and start moving towards its reduction. These are real life stories. This is from Moradabad. These students from a local university are sensitizing a flower seller near a ghat on the banks of the Ramganga. During the Kali Mela, they have requested them to stop selling flowers in a plastic bag, and it happened. And a huge amount of waste was prevented from going into the river just by awareness. No regret action, no investments required, just behavior change. So some of you, I'm sure, have great communication, convincing skills, and we want you to join us, inspire others to take action. We heard about the term wetland health. What is wetland health? So, in terms of human health, if you look at it, you have heart, you have lungs, you have blood sugar, you have BP. So there are several parameters which add up to say that, okay, Suresh is a healthy person or an unhealthy person, he's a weak person, etc. So similar to that, wetland health is also can be divided into 4 or 5 components. One is the wetland area. We live in a highly urbanizing society. So in front of you, as you grow, you will see that a wetland is shrinking because it's giving way to the high rises. It may give to a commercial area, it may give way to industrial area, etc. So the water body area shrinks, and this is observational, and this can be mapped, can be traced in a map. What we want you to look at, once you have pledged to become a Mitra, keep an eye on your wetland area. Tell us, every season, during dry season as well as the monsoon season, what is happening to the wetland area. In 2019, the wetland was full, but in 2020, after having good rainfall, the water didn't fill up. It's observational, and some of you may be science students, some of you, and it doesn't need science, it's just common sense, which can lead to such kind of inferences. पानी कहीं से आते थे एक watershed से, but वहाँ पे घर बन गया, कुछ बन गया, तो पानी नहीं आ रहे. So the inland channels are choked. There are simple tools that are available, and through the environmental education team and the student body will be happy to share that. Water quality, there are water testing kits that are available, and I'll show you some stories of young children taking about water quality assessments with support of local NGOs, including WWF, to understand what happens to the wetland over a period of time. Biodiversity assessment, I'm sure many of you love watching birds. They are also indicators of how a wetland is behaving. There are beautiful fish species which can be observed. These are observational records that we will look at. As I said, 7,55,000 wetlands in the country. We don't have enough data. We need to have people like you to keep a record of their the wetland in the locality. It's kind of a journal. So if the moment you start writing this journal, just imagine over the period of next few years, thousands and thousands of students and youth coming together. India will have a rich inventory of wetlands and the health status. Governance is about, okay, wetland map, hey ya nahi, is there an owner for the wetland? Is there a legal ownership? Are people coming together? Is there a conservation plan that is there, etc., etc. So we want you to understand this. So I'll quickly go through some of the experiences that we have, students helping us with water quality assessments, younger children with water testing kits. These are again, easy to do field test kits that are available. This is a very recent one. It's actually a photograph taken yesterday in a wetland in Bareilly district of Uttar Pradesh, where our colleagues are engaging with students in survey of wetlands. So there is a proper training that is given out to students on conducting some of these water quality testing. Observation of the local flora and fauna. Again, one of you can see 2 teachers here, from a local university, and they are with their students. They are out to survey a local wetland. Bird data. So there are checklists available, online checklists as well. So they are doing it. What it does is, once you inspire others, there are many people who will come forward. So this is an example from a wetland in Karnataka. So these are the local community members who are conducting wetland health assessments. Now, if you become a champion, if you are aware of how to do it, you can actually train others to come forward and do these assessments and keep a record going forward. The other aspect is, we heard about the services that the wetlands are offering us. What are these services? So it gives water, it gives food, because irrigation comes from some of these wetlands. It gives fiber, it gives it regulates local climate. so on and so forth, several services. So what is the dependency of the community on the wetlands? This is an important question, because if you were to inspire action at a local level, you need to understand that. And we are getting phenomenal support from local students and youth in engaging with local communities to understand what their dependencies are. The more the dependency on the wetland, more the interest of the local community in in conserving these wetlands. So some of these things you can contribute. Again, another student who is helping us in this. So we heard about, Amit showed that table, but in a simple way, it gives us a number of services. This is a set of posters that we've released today. The Honorable Minister for State Jal Shakti has released this just to sensitize the local stakeholders, the value of wetlands, flood cushioning to carbon sequestration to groundwater recharge to urban biodiversity. So you may want to use some of this and talk to your local communities and take up action. Now, okay, all these are surveys and surveys and surveys. Is it all that I will do? No. You can actually jump into action as well. So there are many wetlands. If you can mobilize local communities, local institutions, and start cleanup drives. So for instance, you will see a lot of floating matter, lot of solid waste in wetlands. And we have been seeing that in many cities, youth, they're coming forward to run cleanup drives, plantation drives, so on and so forth. So you may want to explore some of these as action. But as I said, there are things that you need to have more support, and we will also look upon some of you as great mobilizers. As I mentioned earlier, you need to inspire others to come forward to save our wetlands. There are examples of in our own work and also work of several other organizations. Youth have been undertaking these padyatras and these walkathons to sensitize people on what actions they can take to conserve wetlands. For instance, this is a case of a wetland again in Karnataka, where the wetland draws water or gets water from catchments kilometers apart. So what they have, what the picture that you are seeing is a walkathon which originated from the origin of the wetland to the wetland, which is many kilometers away, and it took about 3 days for this group to walk to the wetland from its catchment and sensitize the people. So some of these actions may be required. People are engaged in collecting waste and also plantation. Most importantly, so this is again an inspirational picture. So it's a local elected member of the Legislative Assembly. The students are with them discussing about a wetland and the action that is required. So there are also opportunities for you to engage with our seniors, in terms of government institutions, the local MLAs, local politicians, to drive upon the point on wetland conservation. Now, why are we doing Mitras? One, I said, there's so much to do on wetlands. We don't know enough on wetlands. We need more hands. But you must understand and appreciate that this is also part of a national strategy of the government of India. The four-pronged approach you have just heard, whether it is a wetland health card or enrollment of Mitras, is an integral part. And without these two, the preparation of integrated management plan is also not possible, because Mitras brings in local knowledge, local aspirations, and also they can help in creating the first two part. That's a brief document, which is to collect information on the wetlands and also develop wetland health cards. Now, what do we do? What next? So, okay, I'll sign up for being a wetland Mitra. Now, my first point is that identify the wetland which is near you. Map it in Google, visit the wetlands. In next 2 to 3 months, identify others who are working on this wetlands or who are interested in this wetlands, and it is not very difficult to find out. You may find a local village institution, local municipality, local school, local NGO, local expert, whoever. Just try and map it. The second part is do a quick wetland health assessment. We'll give you a toolkit. using which you can just find out what's happening to this wetland currently. And we will try and trace back the history of this wetland. And in the next 6 months, I would say that, if, so many of you are on this call, I can see around 50 odd colleagues here. In the next 5 to 6 months, what we will really look at is that we will know enough about this 50 wetlands. I'm just saying to begin with at least 50 wetlands, one each from each of you. We know enough about this wetland. We would have done a quick wetland health assessments. We would have identified the key threats, and we would have grown the network from you being 55 to maybe about 200 or 300 odd group. So that is the roadmap that we have, and the entire team of WWF-India, the MCoP student body, and all of us will be available to guide you with the process and the tools and guidance that you will require. But I can assure you that, having seen several people working on wetlands passionately, and there are, we heard that, wetlands are being lost at a greater speed than that we lose forest. Yeah, that's right, 3 times more faster than we lose forest. But there are also great deal of interest in wetland conservation, and believe me, we are hearing inspiring stories from across the country. So don't get demotivated. There are great stories, great inspiring people near us from whom we can learn. And this, being a Wetland Mitra and enrolling into this program, is also an opportunity to enhance your knowledge and also the sphere of influence. We need influencers like you to be part of it, and we can change the story. And the picture that you're seeing is a wetland which was dry for 15 years and motivated youth together with amazing, passionate government officials. They've come together to work dedicatedly for 3 years, and they've changed the story. And this wetland is full of water, and it's not because there was plenty of rain suddenly, cloudburst or something like that. Nothing. The rainfall is still below average, annual averages, but they've convinced people to take action to revive this wetlands. And I'm sure that all of you will be able to sort of help restore wetlands in your locality. Once again, I want to thank the education team, Radhika Suri and Negha Raghav, and the MCoP student body for picking this theme, and very, very appropriate for today. And as we celebrate the World Wetlands Day, I'm assuming that we have commitment from all of you who have joined this webinar to walk the journey with us in the next few years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now that we're aware of all this information, if you guys have any questions, you can type them out in the chat box. I once again request you, please do not turn on your videos or audio. Just let us know about your questions in the chat box. Now the part we've all been waiting for, the Menti What's Your Nature question quiz. I'll invite the amazing Neha ma'am and Parameshwari Ramesh, Under Secretary of the Student Body, to be the hosts of this quiz.
Thank you so much, Arshit. And before I kind of move on to the quiz, I would like to thank Dr. Amit Dubey and Suresh sir for such an amazing and inspiring session. And indeed, it is, we are really, really moved by the cause of wetland conservation, and we are determined to work towards it. So you can keep posting your questions in the chat box, and I would now request my colleague Arunav to put the link to the quiz in the chat box so that all of you can join through that. And I hope you heard the sessions very carefully, and you will be able to answer the questions on the quiz really quick and earn maximum points and be a winner here. So let me see. Okay. So I have people joining in. Yeah, so far 12 people. I am hoping more and more people to join really quick. $23 so far. I will wait for a couple of seconds more for everyone to join the quiz. Fantastic. This is moving really fast. I have with me a member of the student MCoP body, Parmeshwari, with me, who is going to take you through the questions when I start the quiz.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's get started. I have 30 who have joined right now, 28. I think so because of network, some of you may drop off, but not to worry. In case you drop off, join in again and you can be a part of the quiz. So let me get started. I would request everyone to one more time check the chat box and instantly join the quiz. So let's get started. So you have to be really quick to answer to get maximum points. Over to Parmeshwari.
Wetlands are also known as natures. Are they the lungs, kidneys, heart, or liver? This is an interesting question. And the answer is lungs. Okay. Let's move on to the next.
Parmeshwari, the correct answer is kidneys, and 6 of the participants got it right. So you will also
claim that I got it wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We move on to the next question. Where can you find the wetlands? Will you find them along the coast, inland, in a desert, or all of these places? Come on, I'm sure that most of you would know this. The answer is all of these places. Ma'am, would you do the honors of telling us how many of them got it right?
Yes, 13 of the participants got the answer right. Let's move on to the next question.
Okay. Which is the largest wetland in India? So is it the Chilika Lake, the Pulika Lagoon, Sundarbans, or none of these? Make sure to remember that the fastest person gets the most points if you get the answer right.
Yes, Sundarbans.
Correct answer is Sundarbans.
Absolutely, and 21 of you got it right, which is fantastic.
That's a great number. Well done.
Yes, indeed.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard there. Are you excited to see who's the highest in score right now?
That's fantastic. We have Archit Datta at the top of the leaderboard. That's fantastic. Congratulations, Archit.
Congratulations.
Yeah, let's move on to the next question.
Okay, the next question. Wetlands need to be conserved as they provide which of these ecosystem services? Okay, here I have 4 options. Water and carbon storage, water filtration, habitat for wildlife, all of these. And the answer is all of these.
Yes, indeed. 25 of you got it right. That's fantastic. A huge pat on your back. Yeah. The next question on your screen. The International Treaty for the Conservation and Sustainable Use of Wetlands. Which of the following options are correct? Your time is up. And
the answer is the Ramsar Convention.
Yeah. And 18 of you got it right. That's fantastic. One more question and we'll see the leaderboard. There are 8 questions in all.
Which is the only continent with no wetlands?
Is
it Europe? Is it Australia? Is it Antarctica? Or the option wetlands are everywhere? The right answer is Antarctica. And it seems, how many of us have got it right, ma'am? 19 of us, right?
Yes, yes, indeed.
Congratulations, all 19 of you.
Yes, let's look at the
Let's take a look at the leaderboard.
Yeah. Let's see. Sampriti was the fastest to give the correct answer, but Aryan is leading the leaderboard with 4,261 points. Let's see, 2 more questions to go, and let's find out who is the winner.
Excited for the next question? Wetlands can be used to municipalities by or as waste dumping grounds, wastewater treatment, build residential buildings, or all of these?
Wastewater
The right
treatment.
answer is wastewater treatment.
14 of you got it right. That's fantastic. All 14 of you can pat your back. Let us look at the last questions, and here's your chance to earn maximum possible score. Here I go. Wetlands store dash of the world's carbon. Here are your options: 1/10, 1/6, half, 1/3. Pick up the correct option at the earliest and score maximum.
1/6.
That was really an interesting question.
Please
the right answer is 1/3.
Yeah. And 13 of you got it right. So I would now reveal the leaderboard, and we have the final winner with us. Okay, looks like there is going to be some major shuffle in the leaderboard. And right at the top of the leaderboard is Aryan, who's the winner with 5,078 points. A huge round of applause for Aryan. And congratulations. Indeed, you deserve to be a Wetland Mitra, and I hope you carry forward this cause and along with you and inspire many, many more people to be part of this mission. And
congratulations, Aryan.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We are now open to all the questions. We'll of course share all the details and link to the entire session so that you can plan your work. We are also going to send the journey document with all the tools with all of you. But if there are any questions, Sulagna, are there any questions in the chat box?
No, Neha, there are no questions.
Okay. So you can keep sharing your questions with us so we can ask the experts to respond to them. I have a question to Suresh sir. Can I ask the question, sir?
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah. So Suresh sir, in case I have kind of been nominated by my teacher to be a Wetland Mitra, and I want to associate myself formally with the cause, how can I do that? Can I kind of just go and report somewhere? If you could just guide me on that.
Yeah, thanks. It's a very important and a practical question. So one of the things that the MOEF has requested the states is to formally announce the enrollment of Mitras, but we are not really sure as to how soon that's going to happen at different states. But some states have initiated at some of the key wetlands, but not everywhere. But while the formal engagement is yet to be rolled out in a big scale, I would say that don't wait for that opportunity to come in. So if you want to be a Wetland Mitra, you please write to us. We will be able to connect you to the right people in the locality, probably in your city or in your area, whom you can get in touch with. Otherwise, WWF itself has a huge network of Friends of Rivers and Friends of Wetlands. Be part of it, and let us do the bit that we can till the time the whole initiative becomes very, very official and mainstream. So the simple question is, let us know which state you are, where you are. We will try and link with the local groups who are driving this. Else, you be part of the Wetland Mitra movement of WWF-India for the time being.
Thank you so much. Just one more question I have. So where can I find all the assessment cards? Is there a website where all of this is accessible and available for me to pick up and further understand this?
Yeah. At this, as we are talking, there is a wetland portal that is being developed by the ministry and other partners. So that will be up and running very soon. But we will be happy as a knowledge partner to this whole initiative. There are many institutions who are knowledge partners: WWF, SACPON, Wetland International, the Chilika Development Authority, Gear Foundation, to name a few, and EPCO in Bhopal. So let us know which city you are in, which state you are in. We'll be able to put you in touch with the right people. And we will be happy to share some of these things that we talked about, like the Wetland Health Assessment Toolkit, the water footprint calculators. So those are available with WWF, and we can share that with you.
So there is one question. Oh, sorry, Neha, please go ahead.
I was going to ask you to ask your question.
Okay. So there is a question from Vashvi Yadav that as the session and orientation is ending, so what are the next steps being a Wetland Mitra?
Okay. As I showed in the last slide, the first thing that you need to look at is which is the wetland that is near to you. So once you identify that, you map it, you undertake a visit to that wetland, try and map your other stakeholders who are engaged in that wetland. And so I think there begins the journey. So that's the most immediate next step that I will foresee from your side, and from our side to share with you the toolkits and the tools that we talked about.
Another question from Mantra is that what kind of wetlands are diverse? So what are the kinds of wetlands which are originally found in India?
Amit, do you want to answer that?
Yes, sir, thank you. So if I got the question correct, the question was what kind of wetlands do we have in India? That's one of the questions. And I think another question is what wetlands support the maximum biodiversity? So I'll answer both the questions. So in India, we've got the inland water bodies as the maximum number of wetlands. Globally and also in India, the number of wetlands which are natural are decreasing. The number of wetlands which are man-made are increasing. So man-made wetlands are actually dominating the increase these days. If you talk about what wetlands have diverse life forms or biodiversity, so the wetlands which are actually a mosaic of different type of habitats, the wetlands which are healthy wetlands, which have good water quality, which have plentiful availability of nutrients, which have clear waters, these kind of wetlands are the ones with most diverse life forms.
Okay, so adding to your question regarding the man-made wetlands, so what are the parameters one has to consider while creating an man-made wetlands?
So man-made wetlands are actually constructed for a variety of purposes. For example, if we construct a pond, which is for fisheries purposes, which is excluded now in the definition of wetlands, but if it is constructed, then it is technically a wetland. The Ramsar sites that we have, many of the Ramsar sites that we have in India are actually constructed man-made wetlands, which are constructed for different purposes like drinking water, irrigation, recreational uses, or many other uses. There are also specialized wetlands, which are known as constructed wetlands or artificial wetlands, which are constructed specifically for wastewater treatment purposes. So there are a variety of purposes, and the parameters of construction of those wetlands depend on what use you are going to put that wetland to.
Just wanted to add, one of the key things that you need to look at is also whether these structures are going to impact the natural flow of our rivers. Because we see that many of these man-made structures are coming up on rivers or streams, which block the downstream flow of both water and sediment and biodiversity. So that needs to be an important consideration in addition to the uses. So as you are aware, WWF conducted a study of last remaining free-flowing rivers in the world, and we find that 2/3 of the long rivers in the world doesn't reach the destination, which is the sea. So this is a very, very serious issue. So many of these considerations will need to be taken into account while discussing the topic that you raised.
Thank you, Suresh sir and Amit sir. One last question, that on a first look, is there any way to tell about the overall health of a wetland even before like the soil and the water health tests?
Yeah, there are, I mean, visual observations are quite possible. So if you see or if you feel a stinking wetland, it's an immediate reflection of, a bad water quality wetland. You don't need to really test the water to say that it's highly polluted. Then you will also see huge amounts of, invasive species like the water hyacinth, which is very, very popular and very common across the country. That is an indication of pollution. So some of these visual observations can be made, and which need to be further corroborated with the detailed studies and analysis.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now over to you, Archit.
Sorry, just one last question. Humaira Chaudhary from Jammu and Kashmir is asking a question here. So she says that near her house, there is a 2 meter, I don't know, she says long. So I don't know, maybe that's the area of the surface of standing water, but day by day it is vanishing. So what is it that she can do from her side?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question and a difficult one to answer. So if the water flow is reducing, you need to trace back where the water used to come into this wetland, or the puddle or the water body that you're talking about, or the pond. You need to trace that and see what has literally changed. What you can immediately do is, if you have access to Google Maps, you can actually go back in the time series to see what changes have happened in terms of the immediate catchment of this wetland, and it will give you indications. With shrinking water body, you may also see that some of the inlet channels have been distorted or played upon with. So you need to do some more research or investigation into what is a real cause of it, and then act upon it. So if some encroachment has happened, you can really go up to your the entity who owns this wetland, whether it is a Gram Panchayat, whether it is a local body, whether it is a government institution. Just go up to them, request them to address some of this, or get together a group of people who can work with you to address the threat.
Thank you so much. Over to Archit now.
Thank you so much, sir. Those were some really, really great and curious and interesting questions. Thank you, everybody, for asking those. Now, so finally, we have come to the end of the webinar. And tell me, don't you all feel enlightened now that you know so much about wetlands and the rich biodiversity that they provide a home to? So now I want you all to turn on your cameras for a group picture, and everybody start turning on your cameras and start smiling. We'll wait for just a minute so that everybody can turn on their cameras, and we'll take a quick picture with everybody smiling. It's so great to see everybody's faces. It's so great to see everybody so enthusiastic. Okay, so now that we have everybody's cameras on, sir, can we take a picture now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so everybody, let's just say cheese.